welcome to my channel. I am Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today I'm going to do kind of a chatty first impressions face review. I'm not going to be doing a review on everything on my face, but I have two products in particular that I'm going to be doing a first impressions review on, and I'm going to kind of talk through it and talk about it as I put on my face, and we're going to kind of go through the journey with you. So I'm going to keep this intro pretty short since I have a lot to say right off the bat, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this is the Becca Cosmetics Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream, and I got the shade Buff. Now, I got this for free to review via Octoly, which if you're not familiar, I'll leave a link to Octoly below, but it's basically a platform that connects influencers with brands to receive products in exchange for an honest review. So this is one thing I was really curious to try. I have a little information about it. I'm just gonna read. A full coverage 24-hour water resistant foundation enriched with intense pigments and water to achieve natural weightless coverage without the cake. So that really intrigued me, mostly because I think you guys are familiar with me and my channel. You guys know that I don't really do full coverage foundations. I'm not a full coverage girl, and the reason for that being is because I tend to find that full coverage foundations just feel too heavy, too cakey on the skin. I don't like the way they feel. Even if my skin looks flawless, I don't like the way it looks still, you know what I mean? So you guys have seen many of my tutorials where I will put foundation on and my blemishes still show through, and I really don't care. My biggest thing is I want my dark circles to be concealed, so concealer is more important to me than a full coverage foundation. But if it's something that is full coverage that can really give that good of full coverage but doesn't feel heavy, cakey, is feeling weightless, that intrigues me. So I was very intrigued to try this. So I was like, this seems really interesting. I want to give it a try. I also really like the idea that this was water resistant. So anyways, that's why I was really interested to try this. It says you only need one pump. I will say that while this is a first impressions for you, I have tried this foundation twice before, so this will be my third time trying. And my initial first impressions are kind of like, I don't know what to think about it just yet. I tried it with two different brushes, and I just really wasn't liking the way it looks. So I have a sponge ready, and I'm going to be applying it with a sponge today and see if that's better. And I feel like it makes my skin look dry, which I don't like. Once I fully put my face together, like finish it off with blush, contour, setting spray and all that stuff, it does look good. But I don't know, initially when it first goes on my skin, I'm like, oh, this looks weird, it looks kind of dry. I'm not quite sure what I think about it, so we're going to give it a go again here on camera, film this as a little bit of first impressions review, and hopefully if I keep using it, I will try to update you guys in a future video. But I figured I'd take you on this first impressions journey with me. I have another Becca product I'm going to be trying as well as kind of first impressions too that we'll show in this video. So with all that being said, all my rambling aside, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this does say I only need one pump. It's basically one pump coverage. I have a feeling that when I use it with the sponge, I will need a little bit more than one pump, but I'm reading on the website and actually says stylist tips say to apply on a well hydrated face. Apply one pump of Ultimate Coverage foundation. So, and it does say use with a brush, but I tried that. I didn't like it. It looked too dry on my skin. My skin usually, skin type is normally dry. I feel like I've really gotten it balanced out. It's not too dry or too oily anymore, which is great. So it does recommend having a very hydrated face. So obviously this does seem like, you know, my initial reactions in it being a dry on the skin, you know, that makes sense. So here's a one pump. Really feel like I will need more than that, but we'll go into it and see. Now I do have, my face is moisturized. I use a hyaluronic acid serum. I do use a rosehip oil and a few other essential oils on my skin. So I do feel like my skin is well hydrated, and so we'll see how this goes today. Now I do feel like now that I've just used the sponge this time, it is applying a lot better to my skin than the other two times I tried it. But at the same time, I'm running out of foundation here. So I'm definitely going to need more than one pump. So I got one more pump, so that's 2. I feel like it doesn't really move well. Like, it's so dry that it just doesn't, like, it doesn't move. Maybe that's just how it is with full coverage foundations. I'm really not used to them, so. I try not to get too much in certain spots because I feel like it just dries. I'm not really getting in, I'm having a hard time getting it into like the nooks and crannies of my face here. Okay, so I got it everywhere. And I still think it looks really dry. My skin just doesn't look nice. And it's not even that my skin is dry or anything. It's just it's making my skin look dry, almost just really patchy looking. I mean, I think in the viewfinder it looks nice. I don't know what you guys can see. I don't have some kind of fancy filter or blurring kind of camera, so I will zoom you guys in a little bit to see up close, but from afar I feel like it looks, in person it's not, but on camera from here in my viewfinder it looks decent, but up close, no, it's pretty dry looking. And I don't even feel like the full coverage of it really, like, I feel like I still see my blemishes through. Like, the coverage doesn't seem like it's anything better than a medium or like regular coverage foundation that I typically use. So yeah, I'm gonna say after trying this 3 times, I still really don't think I like it. My impressions on it are not really great. Today will be the day I wear it the longest though, so I will try to do an update. I probably won't have time to do an update video here and like a check-in or anything. I would love to be able to do those kinds of things, but I just can't. As a mom, I don't have that kind of time. But I will try to update in the description box my thoughts, or again, like I said, in a future different video. But right now, I'm not liking the way this looks and how dry it looks. Ugh, this is exactly what I like try to stay away from with foundations, but we're just gonna go with it today. I want to wear it and I really want to put it through the test. It does say it's 24 hours wear. I'm not gonna wear it that long, but it is 10:52 right now, and so I will wear it as long as I can today. So anyways, with that, we're going to go ahead and just move on. I am going to go ahead and put on some concealer. I'm going to be using the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. I'm in the shade Medium Light Warm, and I'm just going to be applying that to my dark circles. Take a little bit of the excess up here. Do a blemish up here that's driving me nuts. And I feel like, see, even this concealer has way better coverage than this foundation, and the concealer looks way better. It definitely doesn't look, where I'm putting the concealer now, like, and I didn't bring, well, I did bring the foundation up to my eyes, but I try not to bring it as much heavy there as I did the rest of my face. But this area looks way better than where I have the foundation, which makes me think that I should probably try the All Nighter foundation from Urban Decay. I have never tried that foundation. I know that's a full coverage foundation, so if it's anything like this concealer, I probably would like it. I'm gonna guess better than I'm liking this foundation here. It's really unfortunate. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to go ahead and set my face, and the next product I'm going to be using is also from Becca Cosmetics that I did receive via Octoly as well. And normally you guys see me, I set my face, I use like a lot of powder, going pretty heavy under my eyes and things like that. But with these products, I don't want to say they don't need to be set, but it's not as much as like with other products that I use. I feel like it's pretty dry. With this concealer, I don't get creasing. I think other people have said they do, but I don't get creasing with this concealer. It's amazing, so I don't feel the need to set it as much. So I'm gonna do this pretty light-handedly. This is the Becca Cosmetics Soft Light Blurring Powder in the shade Pink Haze. Normally I use like a translucent white or like a yellow because I am more warm tone, so I was a little bit unsure if I should try this, but I was really intrigued by it. Let me read a little bit about it. It says that this is a real-life wearable beauty filter. This loose setting powder acts as a veil to blur imperfections and set makeup with a subtle luminosity that adds dimension while eliminating shine for a natural perfect finish. And so on the info I read, it basically said that this, even though it's pink, was good for all skin tones, if I'm remembering correctly. Though now that I'm on the website, I'm seeing that they do have a gold tone one. It's called Golden Hour, so I don't know. I have used this once before. I don't feel like it changes my skin tone at all or meshes, doesn't like mix well with it just because I'm more warm tone. I feel like it is fine, but I never really gave it much thought. I just was trying it to see what it would look like on my skin. But we're gonna give it a little bit more thought today. So here's what it looks like. The packaging is a really nice, it's a square big jar. It opens up like this, and it does have a sifter with all the product there. But it's really beautiful packaging, and what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and use my Duo fiber brush to apply this all over. I'm just going to do it to this one side just so we could see if there's a difference in what it looks like from one side to the other. Okay, so here, what I'm noticing is this side definitely looks more luminous, even though this side's supposed to add a subtle luminosity. Of course, a powder is going to mattify the look of anything underneath it. So obviously it does look more matte compared to the side without it. But I'm liking the way this looks better. So I don't know, I'm kind of surprised by that. I feel like this just looks very flat. I'm not feeling any, like, I don't feel like it's a bad product, but I'm not feeling any wow about it right now. I'm trying to see if my pores or imperfections look any better. I kind of just can't get over how crusty my skin kind of looks with the foundation. So, I don't know. Let's go ahead and just put the other side on. Okay, interesting enough, since I put a little bit more on this side, I do feel like this side still looks more luminous, maybe because I put more on there. Well, it looks a little bit better. Oh my gosh, but I'm definitely feeling very cakey right now. I feel so cake-faced right now. Not quite comfortable with this. Okay, I gotta say, like, I'm so tempted to just wash my face, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep my makeup on, see how I feel about it throughout the day, and we gotta test this out. I gotta really give this a go. But I definitely do feel cake-faced right now, and I'm gonna do something that I typically do if I feel like I put on too much powder, if I've caked on. Usually it's powder that I cake on, and I'm kind of more comfortable with that. So I don't know, I just feel very strange. So what I'm going to do when that happens is I usually spray my face with some rose water or setting spray. So I'm going to do that now and just spray it, and hopefully it kind of helps to meld it a little bit better. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do that, and then I will go in and finish up the rest of my face. Alright, so really quickly I'm going to do the rest of my face. If you guys notice, my eyes are kind of halfway done. I'm not finished. I'm in the middle of filming another video as well for this, but I want to get my face on first. But I'm going to try to speed through this. You guys have seen me kind of contour and do all that stuff before, but figured I just might as well finish it up in this video. But I'm going to go into the Cocoa Contour for my bronze and contouring. Old school favorite. And I'm just trying to pull it back out and use it up because it's just sitting there and I might as well finish it, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and bronze and contour my face with that real quick. I guess it's good for you if we're doing this as a kind of first impressions foundation review to see how other products lay on top of it. And I will say that I do feel like this foundation, like, products lay well on top of it. Powder products layer and lay well on top of it, so that's something. Alright, so now for blush, I'm going to go into another old favorite that is almost gone. This is the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Rose Dioro. I love this shade. It's so, so beautiful. It's almost gone. Yeah, and I'm actually I'm proud of that. I'm so proud of that. Alright, I really feel like this look is coming together a lot better now. I feel like since I did do that spray and then added the contour and blush, I don't know if it's like the powders helped or whatever, but I feel like it looks a lot better than it did on my own. And I think I mentioned at the beginning that when I first applied it to my skin, I wasn't really liking it, but once I put everything on, it pulled together really well. So there is that, but yeah, we'll just wait. I'll share my final thoughts in a minute. Let's go ahead and move on to highlight. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and keep this Becca themed. This is the Becca Cosmetics Jaclyn Hill little trio palette. Does anybody remember this guy? I'm just going to go ahead and use the center shade, which is the Champagne. I cannot talk. What is wrong with me? The Champagne Pop shade. And it is pretty intense. Last time I used it, so I gotta try not to go so heavy-handed with it. Alright, so that is it for the face. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my eyes, and then we'll be back to talk about my final thoughts on my first impression of these products. Alright, now that I've got the rest of my face done, my makeup's fully complete, I feel like I look so much better, at least from afar, looking at my viewfinder. I really love how this look turned out and came together. As far as the products that were my first impressions, the foundation, that powder, I will say that looking at it complete, like I already mentioned, kind of once everything gets pulled together, once I add setting spray, that rose water spray, put on blush and contour and highlight and pull it all together, I feel like it pulls together really well, and I think it looks really nice. I feel like I look beautiful. I do. I don't feel like my imperfections or blemishes are showing through as much as they would with my regular foundations when I'm not really trying to cover them up that much. So, I mean, there is that. Of course, that's to be expected with this full coverage foundation. So, you know, that is a plus side of having a more flawless looking base face and full coverage foundation. But I'm gonna show you guys up close my face, so because from the viewfinder from afar, at least from what I can see, my face looks really, really nice. It looks really pretty, and it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with this foundation or anything like that. And I'm not saying there necessarily is something wrong with it, but I don't really love the way it looks like I love the way my skin looks with other foundations. You're gonna notice, like up close, mostly around my nose, where I am having the most like issues, how I don't like the way it looks. It looks very crusty. I just feel like that's the only word I could think to describe it. It just looks crusty. My fine lines, I feel like it didn't really, I don't know, just like cracked up around my fine lines, whereas a normal foundation that's not so dry and not so cakey would just kind of fill in those fine lines, would fill in my pores, whereas this just kind of like it sits on top of it and doesn't like seep into the lines, and so you really feel and see the separation between my fine lines and pores and things like that, and it just looks crusty. And yeah, you'll I feel like I almost look older, like if you're looking at my forehead, around my chin, I feel like my skin just looks just crusty and very, very dry. You really see the accentuation in my fine lines and the little wrinkles that I have and things like that. And I just feel like up close it really doesn't look that good. I don't feel super confident in the way my skin looks up close. And so that's where I'm having an issue with this foundation. I really was excited to try it being full coverage, and it's supposed to be lightweight and not cakey, like it literally says not cakey on it, but I feel like this literally is what my definition of what cakey is and what I don't like in a cakey foundation. It dried so quickly when I first put it on. I mentioned that, like it just started drying down, which made it hard to kind of build, not like you need to build up the coverage, but when I was applying, you know, the foundation and then trying to kind of layer it, because you kind of have to get it to go seamlessly. Like you're not going to get it all in one spot at one time, so you have to like pat it on and, you know, spread it around. And I felt like when it did that, it just like, I don't know, it didn't look right. I really don't know how to explain it. I wish I was better at this kind of review. But all I can think to say is this is kind of like almost everything that I like am fearful of or don't like or am worried will happen with the full coverage foundation. So maybe it's just something I am not used to because I'm not a full coverage girl. Those of you who do wear full coverage foundations, maybe you can give me some insight in what you think about the way this applied. Is this typical of a full coverage foundation, or is this something that you're okay with? Maybe I did need to moisturize a little bit more. Maybe I needed to use a little bit more oil. I felt like my skin looked and was very hydrated and moisturized before applying this, but man, it just I don't know. I will say that it does feel lightweight. I could say that it doesn't feel like super heavy on my skin, and when I touch my skin, I wouldn't say my skin feels like skin. Like there's other foundations I can put on, and I touch my skin and I feel my skin. This one, it's I wouldn't say it's like super heavy, but when I touch my skin, I feel like I'm feeling makeup. I'm not getting that taxy residue like I do with some makeup that I don't like. That's another thing I don't like. I don't want to touch my skin and feel makeup. It's not necessarily that, but it's like I feel like I can't feel my skin because I feel like there's such a thick layer of foundation there that I feel like I can't feel my skin. So I'm really like, this first impressions of this product is really kind of, it's not a great one. I don't feel like I would recommend this at all. If you are oily maybe, you know, or have very hydrated skin, and I feel like my skin's hydrated, but if you're, maybe this might be good for you because it's a very dry matte foundation, which I don't think it really said it was a dry or matte foundation, just full coverage. But it is very dry, and so I wouldn't recommend it. And I kind of feel like, even though I want to give it a go again just so I can give you guys another update, I don't know if I will because I really feel insecure with the way my skin looks looking so crusty like this. And so I'm not sure, but like I said, I will be wearing this the rest of the day, even though I really want to wash it off. And I will give an update in the description box on how it wore, supposed to wear for 24 hours, and I would imagine it would still look good by the end of the day. So I'll let you know that, at least if it can look good to the end of the day, look good, you know, not break apart and things like that. Alright, so I know I said I wasn't going to do a check-in, but I decided to pop in really quick. I'm about to go to bed, or get ready for bed, as in like take off my makeup and stuff like that and get comfortable. It's only 8:16. I'm an old woman. So basically I've been wearing this since about 11, so that's like about 9 hours. And I just had to pop in and say, like, I can't wait to take this off. It's not that it feels bad like on my skin or anything, but it looks terrible. It looks terrible. I'm gonna zoom in. Oh my gosh, it looks the worst around right here. It's the worst. So, I'm not sure how well you can see because I know I'm not under my studio lights or anything like that, but it's pretty broken up. It looks pretty bad. And the rest of my face almost looks greasy or really, really shiny, which that doesn't bother me too much, but just, it almost just feels like, see, do you see that? Look at that. Like, I don't, ugh. It's, yeah, yuck. So I just can't wait to take this off. This is definitely not a recommend for me. I really don't like it. I really want to be able to give it another shot, but I don't think I ever want to wear this again. It's just too dry, too cakey, too yucky. I don't like it at all, unfortunately. So overall, this is a no-go, this foundation. Alright. But it just definitely is not my preference for a foundation. Now, as for the powder, I'm kind of like, I really don't know what to think about it. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. It didn't do anything that I felt like it wowed me with. It's a very nicely, finely milled powder. It's not too heavy. It didn't feel cakey when I put it on. It did set the foundation really well. As you saw, it kind of more mattified it. I don't feel like I got a luminosity from it, but it didn't also do anything like bad. Like there's some powders you put them on, you're like, oh, this is bad, it's too heavy, too cakey, too whatever, and it didn't have that. So the powder, I'm kind of just right in the middle on, don't have any like thoughts one way or the other, negative or super positive, but it's like a $38 powder, so I know there are better ones out there that are either the same price or less, so you know, there's that. So overall, my first impressions of these products are just not that great. They're just okay, or just really not that great. So I don't know how helpful that is to a lot of you, but I hope it does help a little bit, at least in seeing the journey, seeing the process. I know this is kind of a longer, chattier video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed taking the journey along with me. I'd definitely love to know your thoughts on the way this turned out, the way it looked, especially in my close-up. If you've tried this before, I'd love to know your experience. If you love it and use it and it works great for you, I'd love to know how you've made it work or why, what your skin type is like. And you could also just, you know, inform anyone else in the comment section who might be reading or watching this video who is curious to learn how it could work for them, or if they might have the same skin type as you, and you could recommend they can get it and it would work great for them. As for me and my standards of what I like for a foundation, you know, they're not the same as everybody, but for me, it's kind of a no-go for me. It's not something I really, really enjoy. So I think that's enough of my rambling. I do hope you found this helpful, if not at least enjoyable. So I just want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes.